Hello and welcome back to Capping Corner. Today we're going to talk about the Kentucky Derby, and I thought I would do the analysis with Sigi Mendoza, who is from Uruguay, and he's one of the top handicappers in that country. Isn't that right?
Uruguay is really a small country.
All right. So let's talk about the Kentucky Derby. But before we talk about each horse, we'll talk about the pace scenario. And I wrote this on Twitter. I think it'll be fast, but I don't think it'll be suicidal. So I think it'll be moderate enough that a good speed horse can handle it. What do you think?
Yes, I agree with you. I can see really crazy fractions this time because the PT horses are probably litmus test from the post four now with the blinkers on again. But he's not really a speedball. He could go to the lead, but not with that crazy fractions of 21:45 now. And six speed, the other horse that is has some speed, but I don't know if he can handle the American speed. Let's see what happened with that horse. He would show speed, but now he's right by Brian Hernandez Jr. His
Right.
yes, his rider in Maiden was Barcelona, Mikel Barcelona. Do you remember Somebody's Tomorrow?
I do. He went right to the front and the fractions were crazy.
Yes, and the rider was Mikel Barcelona, and now he's not on six speed. So I think Brian Hernandez Jr. will give him another type of ride.
All right, let's go straight ahead and talk about the favorite, Renegade. Now Renegade is on the rail, and that's gonna detract many betters, including me. I just don't see how he could work out a trip from the rail, but we were talking about this earlier. You don't think it's a big deal, and maybe he could settle in the back and make one run. What do you think?
Yes, the rail is not ideal for him, but it is not the end of the world. It's not a death sentence since he's a closer, and well, he must deal with traffic because he's a closer. I think he could get a similar trip to Mo Donegal some years ago. Remember, Mo Donegal came from the clouds and finished fifth. He could run similar to him, but I think Renegade is a better horse. From that post, we have some horses that got a nice trip. For example, Hit Show got a dream trip from that post position, but maybe Hit Show had more early speed than Renegade. So that's what I think Renegade would shuffle back and then make a big run.
I also wanted to talk about his competition. In his last start, he beat Silent Tactic by 4 lengths, and I just don't think Silent Tactic is part of the better group of 3-year-olds. But you were explaining to me that he had a problem before the race. What do you think of Silent Tactic?
Yeah, Salitati missed a week because he was dealing with a bruised foot and he was short in that race. Another thing that hurt Silent Tactic was the slow pace. Remember when he won the Southwest, the pace was fast. Then the Rebel was a slow pace, and he was giving 5 pounds to the others. And the Arkansas Derby was another pace, not really slow, but not fast. That's a plus for Renegade that he was able to close with slow paces.
I will say that Silent Tactic has a beautiful pedigree, and I won't be surprised if he passes tired horses and maybe finishes in the trifecta or superfecta. Is that how you're going to play him if you use Silent Tactic?
Yeah, if the pace is really fast, I think he could close and finish and hit the board.
Let's go down and talk about Further Ado, who is number 18. And I like Further Ado. I like the fact that he's fast on speed figures. And initially, I didn't think he beat anything in the Bluegrass Stakes, but he earned a fast speed figure 105 on Breeze, as you can see right now. He won by 11 lengths, and I've been watching his workouts. He's been training well, and I don't think post 18 will be a problem at all because he's a stalker. What do you think of Further Ado?
Yeah, for the Ado is the fastest horse of this field, number wise. But after that big jump in the bluegrass, do you expect a regression, a bounce? I think he's able to run a similar number.
Initially, I was wondering if he would go back to that 92 in the Tampa Bay Derby, but he's been training so well that I just have to believe he's ready to run his peak race. Third start off the layoff is usually a horse's peak, right?
Yes, probably he likes Kineland, and he really improved. I think also really improved from his Tampa Bay race. I really think the Tampa Bay Derby he was short for that race. It was the first race at 3, and then well he made that big jump. My only concern is the competition he faced in the bluegrass. You see, the race looked like an allowance. The second horse in that race was Otinho, that is not running here. Talking, not running here. Regan's Honor, he was the second favorite, and he didn't even try with the Lasix. So the competition was subpar, but the number is the number, and he looks like he's really fast. I'm using him in some exotics and trying a long shot in this race, but I think he's going to run well.
I'm using him too, but not alone. I'm going to use three horses in this race. Let's talk about your top pick, Pavlovian, and let's talk about emerging market as well. Both horses come out of the Louisiana Derby, and Pavlovian did earn a 101. He set the pace in that race, and he lost by a head to emerging market. Why wouldn't you just pick emerging market out of that race since he beat Pavlovian?
Well, I'm using him especially for the experience. Emerging Market has only 2 races, and he's going to make his first race in a 20 horse field. Pavlovian, I think, was the best horse in the Louisiana Derby. He was forced to take the lead because he drew the rail. Maldonado didn't want to be stuck behind horses and on the rail, so he decided to go to the lead. He set very fast fractions and was able to fight and just lost by a head. The other horses that pressed him finished off the board. Was the only horse that was able to fight and almost win the race. In the gallop out, he was really, really good. He didn't tire it at all. So I think he was the best horse in that race. And it's really interesting that this is a horse that has 10 races. There is the more experienced horse in the field. He started running sprint races. And when they stretch out, he really showed his talent.
So you think having 10 races in his belt actually helps him rather than burn him out before the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah, I think he helped him. And you think his pedigree by Pavel, I think that's a horse that will improve with age. And yes, I think improved when he stretched out. His first races were at 2, where most of those races are really sprint, and he struggled on those races.
As long as we're talking about the Louisiana Derby, what did you think of Golden Tempo's run? His path was kind of strange in the stretch run because he moved from the outside to the inside. Did that cost him the race?
Yes, I read that Jose Ortiz said that the horse was drifting, and he thought that going to the rail was the best option. I think he's going to run well, Golden Tempo, but if he didn't win in the Louisiana Derby with those fractions, I think he needs a pace meltdown to win.
I agree with you. All right, let's talk about the Florida Derby and the trio of Commandment, the Puma, and Chief Wallaby. And the Puma is going to be my pick out of the three. I just like the way he fought until the end. And Commandment is also good, but I think he's a grinder, and maybe the Puma is more nimble footed than him. And Chief Wallaby, I feel like Chief Wallaby is too popular, and he hasn't won a stakes race yet. The Puma has won the Tampa Bay Derby. So the Puma is going to be on my ticket. What do you think of all three horses?
Well, I'm really not considering the Florida Derby horses. I didn't like too much that race. The race was too slow early. They were likely walking on the first stage, and obviously the race was fast at the end. But they're going to face a different scenario in the Kentucky Derby. And also, I didn't like that the three horses almost finished in the same line like a turf race. You see the Puma, Commandment, Chief Wallaby, and almost nearly was there. So that is a concern to me. I don't like when three, four horses finish almost on the same line. But the Puma is a horse that has been on some tough battles. Sam F. Davis with no experience, being a maiden, yes. Then the Tampa Bay Derby, and then the Florida Derby on a 3 week spacing. Probably that is the reason they are not rushing him, or that they are not working so hard for this race, but because he has been involved in really tough battles.
Right, I said this earlier. He reminds me of Funnyside because he fights until the end. And I also like the fact that he beat Further Ado, who was going to be in my ticket. So it would feel kind of strange to use Further Ado and not use the Puma, since the Puma actually beat Further Ado. And the central quality is the sire, so I don't think the distance will be a problem. What do you think about the Puma getting 10 furlongs?
Yeah, based on pedigree, the pedigree says the distance is okay, 10 furlongs, but the horse is built like a miler. He's a short horse, a strong horse, but okay, the pedigree says he's fine.
All right. And one more question about the Florida Derby group. What do you think of Chief Wallaby?
Chief Wallaby horse, like you said, he hasn't won a greatest stakes races yet, and he also horses with no experience. He didn't run at two, and he's wearing blinkers for first time in a 20 horse field. That's another thing that is a cons to me.
Okay, we should go down and talk about Full Effort since I'm going to use him in my ticket. Full Effort won the Jeff Ruby Stakes over Synthetic. And of course, with synthetic horses, you just don't know if they're going to handle dirt. I will say he is a half brother to Power Squeeze, and Power Squeeze won the Alabama Stakes a year or two ago. The sire's Liam's map, which sounds okay for dirt, although he does get a lot of synthetic and turf winners. What do you think of Full Effort?
Full effort is on post position 20, not the best post position, but he's a closer. He will come from behind. He's Valiant's map, and he won really well the Jeff Ruby Stakes, and he probably could run like Final Gambit last year. That transition from polytrack, from all weather to dirt, usually works. Why not? I think he could run well, but I'm not using him this time.
We have to talk about the first two finishers in the Santa Anita Derby, because I am hearing a lot of picks for Potente. Maybe not as much picks for So Happy. But what do you think about the first two finishers in the Santa Anita Derby? I think the Southern California group is probably a weaker group than the rest of the country, except for maybe the Aqueduct group. But Santa Anita, I'm not sure because they're in their own bubble. But my feeling is they're a step below the best horses in this race. What do you think?
Yes, numbers says they are fast, but I don't trust them. I don't trust the California circuit. They basically face each other during all the preps, and yeah, this competition is a bit subpar. Potente, I think that was a mistake to take the lead in the Santa Anita Derby. I think that he's a better horse with a target, and that's what they are going to do. They're going to try to stop the pace this time. It probably sent litmus test. So Happy won pretty well the Santa Anita Derby. He handled the distance against that competition. I don't know if he can run well 10 furlongs against the best of the best. That is a question mark.
Visually, he looks like he can run 10 furlongs. I'm just worried about the competition and whether he can do it against this group.
Yes, I agree. And Pedigree, okay, but wrong Happy, but he's out of a blame mare, the big blame, and that probably helps the blame, but I'm not using him. I think the competition is tougher this time.
Let's close this out. So this is how I'm going to bet the race. I'm actually going to do the Oaks Derby double. And in the Oaks, I'm going to bet Always a Runner. Maybe Meeting. I'm not sure. Always a Runner is my top choice in the Oaks. Meeting is my second choice. And in the Derby, I'm going to use the Puma and Further Ado and Full Effort. Further Ado is actually my top choice, but I'm going to use all three in my ticket. What are you going to bet?
I will use in the Oaks Derby double. I using meaning as a single, and then using three horses in the Derby. Pavlovian, my top choice. Further Ado, and Silent Tactic. In the exotics, in the Kentucky Derby, I will use Pavlovian on top, and then I can use Further Ado, Silent Tactic, Golden Tempo, and Renegade. I think Renegade could make the board, could hit the board.
Okay. Do you have any final thoughts before we end this video?
No, I think this is a race that there is no clear. It was a clear favorite, but after the draw, now there is not a clear favorite. So it's okay. You try to play a long shot in this race, but because the race is wide open.
It's so hard to single a horse in this race. That's
Yes.
why I'm using three horses. And that's all I have to say about this race. So, everyone, good luck with your bets this weekend. I'll have a recap of the Kentucky Derby after it's over. And have a good day.
Yes. Good luck to all.